Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. I am so grateful to have you here. I believe that if you landed on this video, there is most likely some message here for you. So it's my goal through this reading to help you confirm some of what you've already been feeling. And specifically, one thing coming through right away that you might be feeling is a lot of need for really deep rest. Now, for some reason, I'm feeling guided to go and grab my notebook where I was journaling a lot of different things coming through this morning as I took some extra time to meditate and journal and do some of my morning rituals and routines. So maybe right within that is already a message for someone to really carve out a little extra space and time for yourself today because of how much chaos you might be experiencing in the quantum realm. And my guides want me to clarify that the chaos we're describing, isn't necessarily a negative thing, even though the mind might be trying to label it as negative. So anyway, I'm going to go grab my journal as I was feeling guided to do so because I'm feeling that there may be some messages that came through there this morning that could connect with someone in a meaningful way. Hi, I'm back with my journal, but there actually was a message and I completely forgot that I had written this here first before I wrote it in a YouTube community post. What's really interesting about this as well is I rarely do community posts in this kind of fashion, but this is the place that I was really feeling guided to share this specific message. So maybe someone listening saw that post at a time that you really needed to see it, specifically on the YouTube platform, as opposed to me posting it to my Instagram or somewhere else. But I actually want to reiterate that quote here, even though some of you may have already seen it on my YouTube, because this may be the title of this video as well. And even if it's not the title, I'll have to wait and see where this reading goes to determine that for sure. But even if it's not the title of the video, I feel that this is a really beautiful kind of all-encompassing jumping off point for the reading. And the message is, the timeline that your mind is looking for doesn't exist anymore. But the new one that's unfolding is so much more nourishing to your soul. And the image I just got is someone opening a door, but there's a cement wall behind the door. And this door in the metaphor is the door to the old timeline. I'm hearing you couldn't access it even if you wanted to, and that's a good thing. It's a form of divine protection that's keeping you aligned with the timeline that is actually going to be so much more fulfilling to you on all levels and layers. But you have to trust the unfolding of this and let the old timeline be. I'm also getting something about how that the desires that you may have held in the old timeline, whoa, this is going to get really quantum, but I know whenever I say that, some of you actually seem to connect the most deeply with those specific messages. So I want to go ahead and share what's coming through. The timeline that you are leaving behind, I'm hearing that you already left behind. You've actually not been connected to the energy of this timeline for a long time. That timeline that you can no longer access. You had desires, dreams, goals, maybe certain relationships that were important to you on that timeline. And your mind has been telling you that the only way you can access them is by walking back through that door and reconnecting with that old timeline that you've already outgrown. But this actually is not the case, because what I'm getting is some of those old desires that you held are actually going to be manifested on this new timeline that's unfolding. And actually, wow, this is going to be powerful for someone. Those desires that you thought could manifest through the old timeline actually could not have manifested there anyway. It was almost like this illusion of sorts where you thought if you kept going in that particular direction, you could manifest something specific. And so you kept kind of doing the same things over and over, I'm hearing repetitive actions. Maybe certain things about that timeline felt almost like running in circles, very repetitive. It was very cyclical, and it served its purpose because I'm hearing it showed you what you truly wanted and who you truly are, what your values truly are, your core soul values. I'm hearing that old timeline, that process of feeling like you were running in circles in that repetitive motion, it actually stripped back everything that you were not. It stripped back all of the superficiality. It stripped back all of the matrix-based persona, the matrix-based desires that weren't really who you are on a soul level, on a more pure level. However, I'm almost seeing like a vegetable that is being sent through, I want to say it's a spiralizer, but actually in this case, it's almost like peeling it in a spiral. I'm not sure what this tool is. Maybe you can let me know in the comments, but it's peeling it automatically in a spiral, and it looks like a circle. It's like you were being stripped back energetically in this way through this old timeline, and it was happening just like that spiral peeling in a way that's felt very cyclical, that felt like going in circles, but it was actually peeling back something to get to the root of who you are. But now you are there, you are ready, you are peeled back to that core. And that old timeline has served its purpose. And that's why when you try to walk through that door to reconnect with it, there's that cement wall, because it doesn't serve a purpose for your soul's evolution anymore. And in fact, it can't manifest what your mind thinks that it can manifest or once thought that it could manifest. I know that we're talking kind of in generalities here, but you can take this to apply to many areas of your life, to love, career, work, friendships, community, whatever this is for you. I'm getting these desires will be really core and really unique to you personally. But what you need to know is it's actually the new timeline that can manifest these desires, but it's not going to happen through those repetitive motions and actions. I'm hearing concrete formulas of the old timeline. And in fact, you've most likely noticed that old formulas, old ways of doing things that may have netted you some small sense of a result in the past are no longer bringing the same effect. I'm hearing at times it almost feels like the cause and effect equation is broken, where you're doing some of the same things you did in the past, trying to get the same result, but it's not working. And again, this is because you've so massively outgrown that old timeline. Your energy has expanded so beyond it that you can no longer lock yourself into that paradigm in the same way. I'm getting a message about how many people tie themselves into specific paradigms. These could be religious belief systems, spiritual belief systems, kind of thought forms. They tie themselves into systems that have this kind of cause and effect sort of equation, almost like they make agreements with these systems. So they, under these belief systems, will do certain things and get certain results, but they'll also be limited in very specific ways. They'll be very restricted in certain ways. What I'm getting about you is you are not being allowed by the divine to tie yourself in to any such paradigms. Meaning, even if you were to try and lock yourself into a specific paradigm just to kind of grasp at some sense of certainty, which of course the ego loves that sense of certainty. And I feel in many ways your life has been lacking that. You've felt as though you've been lacking that concrete stability of certainty. You've had to let go of that knowing. But the divine is not allowing you to attach yourself to any one specific group, belief system, paradigm, because again, each of these paradigms, yes, comes with certain benefits, comes with certain kind of cause and effect equations where you can do certain actions and get certain results. But each of these paradigms is limited, and you are here meant to be experiencing true freedom, a kind of freedom that very few people even know to want because they wouldn't even know that it exists. A kind of freedom that's very rare to experience because, quite simply, most people could not handle the level of uncertainty that inherently comes with the territory, that inherently comes with the level of freedom that you are now experiencing or that you are bound to experience. I just saw the number 1212. And the thing I'm getting here as well is that there seem to be certain individuals who are externally trying to pressure you into specific paradigms to make themselves feel more comfortable. And this, I'm laughing because this is reminding me of something else I wrote in my journal, which I really didn't expect to come up here, but let me flip to the message. The message was, the more pressure you feel around conformity, the less you are meant to conform, which I know sounds really backwards, but essentially the idea is that if you are a soul that incarnated here with the purpose of living an example of true unlimited freedom, you are actually going to feel the most amount of pressure to conform. And I'm hearing that your gut will tell you in these moments, your intuition will tell you in these moments that something is off about what the person is pressuring you into. So listen to that instinct. I was out somewhere yesterday and I saw that someone had a backpack that said, trust your instincts. And it came right at a time when I was contemplating something similar to this. And so I feel that you've reached that stage in your soul's evolution where you have to trust your instincts more than ever, because you are going to be experiencing a level of freedom that is actually scary to most people. People think that they want freedom, and many people talk about wanting freedom, but most people don't realize the level of courage that has to come with freedom, the level of surrender that you have to practice every single waking day in order to maintain that state of freedom. But I feel that if you found this video, you understand that full well because you've been living in that reality. You've been living that freedom, and you know that every day you have to face that part of you that desires certainty with courage, knowing that you can trust your instincts, but that those instincts are only given to you in the moment, that they can't be foreshadowed in advance in this kind of concrete, tangible way. But what I'm getting is that you have specific people around you, maybe even a specific person who have said things recently, and something about these comments struck you kind of the wrong way. And maybe you found yourself sort of mulling them over, trying to figure out why these things were not setting right with you. I know I'm probably just speaking to a specific group of people here. But for example, you may have had someone say something about your timeline when it comes to relationships to having children, having a family if you still do not have children or don't desire to have children. If you do have children, maybe it was about the way that you raise your children, the way that you parent them, the way that you live your life generally, related to your dreams, your goals, your business. And the thing about these individuals is I don't feel that these comments were even made consciously or necessarily intentionally, but they were almost vehicles to test your commitment to this timeline, to remind you the importance of not conforming to the expectations of other people, to the pre-planned artificial timelines that others would have you conforming to make them feel more comfortable. And again, this isn't necessarily a judgment call against anyone who may have made those kinds of comments to you, because I feel in many cases it was them unconsciously playing out the programs that they've already bought into themselves. And it's almost like they would feel more comfortable if you were conforming, because they could put you in some kind of a box and they could better understand you or grasp you, but you aren't meant to be understood on a conscious level. You are meant to be felt. You are meant to be experienced. Knowing you is a spiritual experience, and it's meant to be felt as such. And I'm not sure why this is coming up here. Maybe some of these comments came from family members, because I'm picking up very specifically on someone who was raised in a family where you actually felt this pressure to conform very, very frequently, and where you never felt like you quite fit into the family groupthink dynamic. You were always the odd one out. You were always the one who was, I'm hearing weird. Maybe people labeled you as weird, but of course, that's just by society's standards. You were someone who refused to conform. And so you were labeled in particular ways. I'm hearing outcast, labeled as an outcast by the people around you. I'm also seeing whispering. Maybe you often sensed that people were talking about you, kind of, I'm hearing feigning worry about you and your path in that kind of way that people will do sometimes, where they gossip about you, pretending to be concerned, pretending to be worried, but really they're trying to control you in some sense, or they're feeling like they don't have control over you, and that's triggering to them, so they're talking about it. But I feel as though you've experienced a lot of this your entire life. And in many ways, something coming through today as well is your life has been about growing up in reverse, meaning unlike most people who traditionally start off life feeling really innocent, fun, free, pure-hearted, open-hearted, happy, connected, social, most people enter the world feeling this way. And then slowly over time, they may feel as though life kind of breaks them down or wears them down, so to speak. But I feel like for you, it's been the opposite. You actually were born into so much density that you may find it hard to remember a time where you felt 100% free, pure-hearted, open-hearted, happy, carefree. I feel like that time doesn't really exist hardly in your memory. I feel as though you had to grow up so fast. It happened even before you understood the idea of being a child. It's like, I'm also getting this sense of you always feeling much older than your age, especially at a young age. And you may have even had people around you burdening you with things that were way beyond your years by traditional standards, coming to you for advice or guidance, even if they were the adult and you were the child or the younger one in the situation. I feel as though you've always been labeled as an old soul by people around you, but that was a burden to carry that few people understand, because you never got to really experience that time in your life where you were completely just carefree, connected to nature, playing, enjoying your life. You were always, I'm hearing even at times where you were acting as a child, kind of playing or doing child things, you were always haunted by a heaviness. And for some of you, that heaviness may have come from trauma, from your upbringing, from certain systems, cultures, belief systems you were raised in. But I feel as though when I say that you've been growing up in reverse, it's almost like you've been learning how to see life, how to see the world through the open-hearted eyes of a child, how to be connected to nature, to be connected to the moment, how to just simply love the people around you, love yourself, release judgments about yourself, just like a child who doesn't really have a concept of how they look or appear to other people because they don't care. I feel like that's what you're learning to do now in your adulthood. You're learning how to play and explore the world and live free in a very almost childlike manner. And I feel that many people actually can misunderstand this because they can label you as childish or as immature, not realizing the wisdom in what you are doing and in how you are living your life. Because really what you are doing is returning back to your true core soul nature in adulthood in a way that so few people have the ability to do, but is so powerful, because what this allows you to do is to create with the spirit of a child, but with the resources of an adult. So what I mean by this is you have all of this pure, powerful, creative potential that you're accessing because you're peeling back all of those layers, all of those misconceptions about what the matrix thinks it means to be and to exist and to work in the world. And peeling all of this back is giving you access to this pure creative power. But because you're doing that in adulthood, you also have more freedom, more flexibility over your time, your space, your resources. You have the ability to invest in yourself, whether that's financially or whether at this time you are still working to manifest more financial abundance. Maybe you feel limited in that way, but even still, you have the ability to invest in yourself in terms of your time and your energy, and that is your most valuable asset of all. And so I feel like you've learned something very powerful here that few people understand, and in fact, many people around you may be judging. I'm hearing settle down. You may have people in your life telling you to settle down, to choose a more conventional path. And maybe this speaks to some of those energies that have been coming up in this reading who have been pressuring you. I'm hearing don't give in to the pressure to conform because you weren't meant to. And the more pressure you feel, it's interesting because just like I said, the more pressure you feel, the more you are meant to not conform. It goes even deeper than that, because when you feel more pressure in a specific area of your life to conform, whether that's internal pressure, maybe you telling yourself, I should really have this area of my life figured out. Why don't I have this figured out yet? Or whether it's external pressures in the form of other people telling you, why are you not settling down in that area yet? Why are you not figuring out that part of your life yet? What you need to know. And I'm getting almost emotional as I say this because I feel I'm tapping into someone with such a beautiful, non-conforming spirit. And I hope this reading finds you. But what you need to know, what your guides so desperately want to get through to you, whatever cosmic forces you personally connect with, whether you call it guides, angels, spirit guides, universe, God, higher self, those cosmic forces want you to know that it is those exact areas of your life where you feel the most pressure that you hold the most potential. And the reason you've been so unable to conform in that area, the reason that it's taken so long is because that's actually a key area that your soul came here to explore, to master, and to reveal something as an example to other people that would be new and different and powerful and inspiring. The reason it's taking so long is because there is so much being orchestrated for you in this area, because it's going to be so profoundly fulfilling to you on so many levels that it's taking more time to be prepared. And also your soul isn't allowing you to conform. Your soul isn't allowing you to settle, because I'm telling you this, but intuitively you already know this. Intuitively, you already know that what is being prepared for you in this area is so much more powerful than you could even begin to dream, although I feel you have done a lot of dreaming in this area, but it's even better than those dreams, whether it's related to a relationship, to your finances, to your work, to your purpose. If you have that sense of, why can't I figure this out? Know that if you weren't meant to manifest something insanely powerful here, you would have had it figured out already, and it would look like everyone else's form of success. But it's because you haven't been able to figure it out. It's because it's been so frustrating to you. It's because it's taken so long that you can know for sure that what is in store for you here is so tremendously above and beyond the norm, above and beyond what most people settle for in this life. And again, your soul knows this. So if you have that feeling of, I almost just want to make myself settle, but I can't. So many of us go through phases in our lives where we have some area in life where we are just trying to make ourselves settle, trying to make ourselves conform to what other people find to be fulfilling in that area. And we just can't seem to find satisfaction from those conventionalities. We just can't seem to allow ourselves to settle. Know that that is the most beautiful thing about you. Your inability to settle is one of the most admirable traits about you. It's something that is so lovable in you that you do not allow yourself to settle when your soul won't allow you to, because you know that there's something profound in store for you. And so you're going to keep searching, you're going to keep exploring, you're going to keep following your intuition until you land on that thing. And you'll know it when you see it. You know that you'll know it. It's almost like someone going through their whole life and telling themselves, I'll know when I meet the one. And everyone around them is saying, you're being delusional. That's just a fantasy. You should settle for this person or that person. But this person in this example keeps reaffirming to themselves, no, I know that there's someone out there for me who wants to meet me as much as I want to meet them. And I know that I'll know it when I see it. And it takes longer than anyone else thinks that it should take. But then one day they're face to face with that person and they have that click moment where they know this is the one for me. And I knew that I would know it when I saw it, and I did. That is the exact kind of energy I'm getting around you. Now, maybe that is a very literal example for someone listening. Maybe this is in your love life where you are refusing to settle. But this also could be that ideal career path, that ideal business idea, that life path. I'm just hearing, don't stop allowing yourself to play, to create, to explore, to have that open childlike spirit, to be in that kind of dance with your life, because something really profound is in store for you here that many people do not understand, but you understand it. You know it. You really, well, as they say, understand it, because you get it on a soul level. It's a kind of understanding that surpasses words. In fact, you probably couldn't even explain it to someone else, but it speaks to your soul's blueprint, meaning your soul's plan for this lifetime. And this has been a bit of a strange message. I'm not sure why exactly I felt guided to take it this direction, but I felt like someone really needed to know that they're on the right path with something that they're doing that does not conform with the ways in which other people around you might be trying to pressure you to conform, or even the way in which your own internal self, that mind or ego aspect of yourself, tries to get you to conform. Trust your instincts. So I am going to pull a Rumi card, although this has been one of those readings where the cards just felt like they almost would have gotten in the way of the message because the message was coming through so clearly. So I'm going to pull a Rumi message to close this out. And as usual, I will be continuing this channeling onto Patreon. So if you do want to join our Patreon Soul Tribe, then I will be leaving a link to it in the pinned comment and also in the description box underneath this video. So we will be just continuing on these messages and going even deeper into what you might need to know at this time. Okay, so what is one final card I can pull for this really beautiful, brave collective that I'm tapped into specifically in this reading? The card is Merciful Mother Jamal. And let me go ahead and read a guidebook message here. O sudden resurrection, O countless blessings, O blazing fire in the jungle of thoughts, today you arrive with laughter to break open the jail. Rumi, you blazing angel capable of so much. You evoke the testing hand of life. Why not when you cannot fail? Yet in your sweet surrender, how can the great beloved not respond in kind and offer you solace, comfort, and mercy? For not all success must be hard won. Can you imagine this? The sweet face of the all-powerful. It shines upon you as the love. Interesting, I wanted to say loving, almost like an action verb. The love or loving emanating from the Holy Mother's eyes, the golden radiance of her body, and the gentleness of her touch. This is your birthright now, your divine inheritance, the mercy of the All-Merciful. Let it soften the hard edges of your life and your being and bring to you the grace that is deserved. It's interesting. This is the last card in the deck as well, which I didn't realize. There's almost this sense of the completion of a cycle here. There's a finality to it as well, which I feel goes back to the idea of that past timeline being completely closed out. It's like you can't return to that old timeline, but you wouldn't want to. And it's such a gift that you can't go back to it because it couldn't have manifested what you truly desire anyway. But this new timeline can and actually is in the process of manifesting that. It's all unfolding for you. So congratulations if you found this video. I feel like that is some kind of sign in itself. I hope that this was helpful for you along your journey, and I'll connect with you here again in the next video.